Carnivore diet weight loss. You're going to enjoy this story. Hey, what's shaking bacon? My name's Bruno Panucci. I hope you're doing well. So I've been doing a strict carnivore diet without a lick, taste, or bite of anything off of a carnivore diet for well over 2.5 years. So the interesting thing about that is my weight loss hasn't been even, and nor should you expect it to be the older you get, though it's nice when it happens. And it hasn't been linear. So I've gone up and down, up and down, up and down, long plateaus, and up and down even more as I've lost weight. So it hasn't been a straight line. You have to get that thinking out of your mind if that's what you think weight loss is. It was when I was young. It was when I was in my 20s and 30s. It was not an issue. If I wanted to lose 60 pounds at any given point, I could do it effortlessly. I would just cut back on carbohydrates and I would eat cleaner and I would just do a little bit of exercise and boom, I would lose a lot of weight fast. Here's something interesting I've always noticed whenever I lost weight through the years. Always, every single time, any substantial amount of weight, anything from maybe 15 to 20 pounds up to over 150 pounds, was I have always lost lean mass first. Now, the goal of this channel, since I started this channel, was to maintain my lean mass as I was losing weight because I wanted to keep my metabolism up. But I think my hormones are far enough gone that it's easy for me to have a stress response and a high cortisol level, which has prevented me from losing weight. So I've mentioned that lots of times on this channel before. I haven't been doing much weight training for the last few months. I actually have really not been doing much of anything the last few months. Been going through a bit of a situational depression because I've just had some life circumstances happen to me, but I'm starting to get better. I'm starting to get out of that for probably the last few weeks or so. But the reality is when you're in those situations, you just don't do much. And you have to work to get out of those situations. Otherwise, they can last you a really long time. Should I be on medication for that? Possibly. Has it been easy in Ontario to get a doctor? No, not really. So for anyone out there dealing with any sort of mood dysregulation, always keep that in mind. There's nothing wrong if you're not interested in your own lifestyle, your own hobbies, your own interests, the things around you that normally make you happy. You may need to do something about that. Maybe it's cognitive therapy or maybe it's medications. Talk to a specialist. They're there to help you organize your thoughts and go from there. But to add to that situation, I also cut my thyroid medication almost in half. Now, I did that doctor supervised. The reason why I did that is because when you have a low thyroid stimulating hormone, that means your body's putting feelers out there to see if it needs to make any hormones. And when it comes to the thyroid stimulating hormone specifically, my body was saying, no, we're good, we're topped up. So I was getting enough thyroid medication in my body to keep myself topped up, so my body wasn't producing anything. So I talked to my doctor and a naturopath doctor about me lowering my medication, and they both said, you know what, it's worth a shot. So here's the crazy part about that. I've lost 50 pounds since I started doing that. That's substantial. I just weighed myself yesterday morning and I was 49 pounds down, and today I'm another 2 pounds down. Now, I know a lot of that's lean weight. I went for a bod pod exam today and I'm going to post the results of that hopefully tomorrow. But when you cut down on your thyroid medication, as I have, and I have hypothyroidism, now typically what happens is you put on weight, and you can also have your symptoms of hypothyroidism get worse as you're getting better. So the interesting thing about this is the doctors recommended at least 3 months before I get my blood work tested, because it's going to take a while for my body to start kicking in and doing its job. Normally you would test thyroid hormones every month when you sort of tweak it with your medication, but I'm trying something different and it's a longer process. So my bod pod exam, I take it with a grain of salt because I know I've lost lean mass. I've lost 50 pounds in the last 6 months, but keep in mind, I put on 50 pounds in the last 8 months. Now, I did a high fat version of carnivore, and I did that to heal my thyroid gland as well as my adrenal gland. The benefits of that was the fact that my allergies are virtually gone this year. I feel amazing. I haven't experienced this in over 30 years. So yes, it was worth it. I put on a lot of weight doing that, but I knew it would come off. So you people out there who try high fat and you put on weight, keep in mind, you're the outliers. I'm that person too. You're an outlier. Most people that go to a high fat, like a ketogenic diet, who even keep a little bit of carbs in their diet, they still lose weight. Now, some people don't really get those results, and some people even put weight on. I was in that latter category, and you're an outlier in that situation. But keep in mind, your body's just going to keep losing the weight over time. I trusted the process, and it paid off in dividends. You don't know what it's like to suffer from allergies for 30 years, and then all of a sudden, 1 year, you barely feel them. It's a wonderful feeling. So yes, I've yo-yoed a lot through the years, but here's the interesting thing about carnivore, because you're thinking, well, you've gone up and down a lot through the years, so are you really a good person to listen to when it comes to this? So keep this in mind. Any way I've ever lost weight, even if it was really clean eating and a healthy lifestyle, wasn't sustainable for me. It might be sustainable for other people, but it wasn't sustainable for me. So when I lost that weight, eventually I went back to my old bad eating habits. And I wouldn't say laziness, because I was always an active guy in my 20s and 30s, but I definitely wasn't as active as I used to be. And my bad diet outweighed my level of activity. And you combine that with hypothyroidism that progressively got worse every year or two, where my medication had to get stronger and stronger, then yeah, you know what? My diet was pretty bad in general, with clean periods. And in those clean periods, I would do well with my weight loss, but it was never sustainable for me. A carnivore diet is sustainable for me because I was dealing with sugar and carbohydrate addiction, and I didn't realize it all those years. So it was like holding my breath underwater, trying to eat clean. I just couldn't do it. If I was even trying to moderate carbohydrates and sugar, I couldn't do it very long. It took me till my 40s, my mid 40s, before I realized not a lick, taste, or bite of anything off a carnivore diet, because that's how my slippery slope begins. So I keep a clean diet. It's opened up my world as far as freedom goes. I don't suffer from being addicted to food anymore. The only thing I would argue I might binge on now and then is bacon, and I do not mind that at all. So I'm going to start weight training in the new year. In the meantime, I'm letting my thyroid do its thing. I don't want to stress my body out too much. It sounds weird. Yes, I'm looking at this as a step back so that I can continue to step forward. So I find when I lose weight, I lose that lean mass really fast early on in the first couple weeks. And then eventually after I plateau, I bounce back up. It's like a check mark. I drop all the way down and I finally get to where I want. And then once I start reintroducing more food, or I start going back to a bit more of a normal lifestyle, the first thing that comes back is my lean mass. I can feel it. I can feel it in my legs. I can feel it in my arms. I can feel it in all my muscle groups. I'm thicker and I'm stronger. So I expect lots of that lean mass that I've lost to come back even without any exercise. There's a thing called muscle memory, and it doesn't just work when it comes to moving your hand in a particular range of motion to remember a task like working in a factory and doing a repetitive movement all the time, or lifting weights. Your body remembers what metabolism it ideally wants to sit at. And when you give it the proper amount of fuel, it's going to sit there. So as you're losing weight, unfortunately, sometimes what can happen is you can try and fight lean mass loss, but sometimes it only gets you so far. And lately, I haven't even been trying to fight that. I'm just functioning on getting through day to day. And so there's going to be a lot of change in the next few months with me, and I have to adapt to it. So I want to make sure that I'm not overwhelming myself as well in the meantime. So come the new year, hopefully come January, I'll be in a good spot and have a really balanced schedule that I can incorporate that. I already have a diet that's worth its weight in gold. I'm really satisfied with this carnivore diet. Now, as well, I want to hear your success stories. Tell me what you find has worked for you. Are you just considering carnivore? You'll find if you're starting carnivore, you got to keep in mind the weight loss happens after your body starts healing. I stress that all the time in this channel. Don't look at it as a weight loss diet, because as soon as you get to where you want, you're going to open your diet back up and you're just going to start putting on all that weight again. You got to change your mindset. You have to look at this as a lifestyle. I look at this as a lifestyle. I'm going to continue doing a carnivore diet because it works for me. I feel good. My energy's good. It started healing lots of my health problems. So when you adopt this as a way of living, you're not going to bounce back and yo-yo up and down like you always have through the years, except that it's just a way you're going to be eating most likely the rest of your life from one degree or another. You might cheat every now and then if you can find you can handle it without slipping completely off the wagon. So we're going to continue to monitor this progress. And like I said, hopefully tomorrow's video is going to be a bod pod exam review. All right, I'll talk to you later.